This is Python's Paradise. This is your host, Greg Gilbert, aka the Python Hyena, straight out of Fredericton, New Brunswick, Canada, here on New Year's Day 2023. Here we are, folks. And I have a return guest on here for the third time. From the movie Microwave Massacre. Is it going to show up here on this background thing? People insist I have this, but there you go. There we go. Microwave Massacre. Here we are. The neighbor that is peering around the curtains. Folks, Microwave Massacre is celebrating its 40th anniversary this year. Well, if you count its 1983 release, which I guess I do. Folks, I give you Mr. Craig Muckler. How do you do, Craig?
Oh, I'm doing great. You're actually surviving probably the worst December weather-wise in Minnesota ever in December. It's warmed up to a balmy 36 degrees.
36 degrees, huh? Well, you know, it's funny because you were supposed to be on here a few hours ago, and I was very unresponsive. For those that are in the listen, you know, I work at the hospital here in Fredericton, and I got back here. I had to run some errands, and then I had to be someplace, and I come back here. I did my first interview of the year with Anthony Camano, and then I went and I picked up some food from a coworker who was so nice to make me something for New Year's. And you know what? I have my alarm set to have you on here about 2 hours earlier. I didn't hear a damn thing.
Oh, well, you know, I mean, it's probably a good thing, Greg, because in the meantime, I had a call, I had contact with 3 people. Chris Mulkey of Twin Peaks. He and I are going to be doing, hopefully this year, a movie called Zombie Football Wheat Road. And he's in Jamaica right now having a fun time.
Mm-hmm.
And then I had a call from Spencer Wilding in Wales. Darth Vader, Star Wars Rogue One, for God's sake.
I enjoyed Rogue One.
Yeah, he's the best, and he's truly one of my dearest, best friends. So he called me. He says, Craig, this coming year, we're going to do a movie. I'm finally going to be in one of your movies. And he says to tell everyone, January 13th, a movie called Devil's Connection, I believe it is, coming out in theaters. So he says to report everyone that he says, Craig, you had to be there opening night to watch the film because I respect your opinions, and it's going to play theaters. So Spencer Wilding, I said, look, I mentioned I'm going to go on your show. He said, well, mention this. He's also going to be this coming year in coming out the Toxic Avenger, the remake with Kevin Bacon, and Dungeons and Dragons. But there's a film I'm trying to get off the ground we have for a few years called Ripped to Shreds, a great werewolf film.
Yep, I'm looking at it right here on IMDb.
Yeah, and he wants to be our werewolf. I mean, are you kidding me? He was the Wolfman in the Wolfman with Anthony Hopkins, and you know, I mean, Jesus. So he and I, the last 5-6 years, we're getting a horror film, and he's just like a great guy. So far removed from being Darth Vader, the dark side. He always says, Craig, I'm going to keep you on the bright side. So you don't go to the dark side. So, I mean, and then who else? I mean, this is when you were, and then I got contact from Lori Singer, Footloose, right?
Yep.
Oh, man, she's a doll. She a couple years ago contacted me and said, look, Craig, I'm so proud of you. When Hollywood was shut down, you make these schlocky films. I mean, schlocky films like Angry Asian Murder Hornets. I produced.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
which is a crazy film. I mean, but I made it. Uh, and yeah, and you can see this Murder Hornets doing huge in Tokyo. I was executive producer on this bugger.
You
And
proud of that, are you?
I am. Got that right. Anything in me. When I get a call from freaking Laurie Singer said, Craig, I'm so proud of you. And this film is huge in Tokyo. You got
I don't doubt it. Yeah, it
20 film, and they did it on my name. I mean, it's been quite a year. This film has come out, coming out next year, called The Hand That Feeds, from the producer of Microwave Massacre, Crypticon, Minnesota, named Best Horror Film of the Year, and it's coming out next year. So it's been quite a year for me, to be honest with you. So Laurie Singer's right. I just keep on plugging away.
Yeah. Well, there you go. So before we get into that more detail, because like I said, I got this here, but I got one of your other movies here too.
Malibu High.
Malibu High. There you
Yeah,
go.
yeah, Malibu High.
I got the Blu-ray for that here as well,
Yeah, from Vinegar Syndrome. This poster, in when the film came out in 79, whatever, I was in my early 20s, was the number one poster of the year. That poster helped make the film one of the top drive-in films, period, ever, because of a poster, for God's sake. In a way, the poster is probably better than the movie, but who cares? It's one of Quentin Tarantino's top 9 favorite films, Malibu High.
There you go.
You know what I mean? Because it's right up his alley. And
yep.
Yeah.
Well, I know I asked this before, but it's like whatever happened to the lead, because it's like nobody knows where she is.
Well, the funny thing is, Joe Lansing was great in the film, just great. And believe it or not, one day when the film was finally released, it was released, came out like surprisingly. I get a call from my sister Pam, who is back in Minnesota. I'm in LA. Says, you got to watch the Johnny Carson show. I said, why? Johnny Carson is talking about your movie right now. So I was watching this, like, oh my God. After all, 20 or in 20s, all of a sudden my movie I helped produce with the poster, Johnny Carson talking about it with the model called, her name was Mary Margaret Humes. She actually is the
oh, there you go.
She actually is the the poster girl. That's her. That cute butt made the movie millions. So I'm watching Johnny Carson. He says, well, Mary Hughes, you aren't even in the movie, but you're on the front of this huge, the great poster. He says, and then she said, well, actually, I was going to be in the movie, but like a week before they started filming, I got in a car accident and couldn't be in it. And that's when they got Joe Lansing. And that's all news to me. I helped produce the freaking film. And and we made this deal. Paramount Pictures wanted the film. It's Paramount. So we made this great deal with Larry Folders, myself, Tom Singer, us three, with Crown International. They gave us primarily wrote a check for what the film cost, well, plus the distribution deal, and then within a year, it's all over the place. But Mary Margaret Humes, really, she actually said, that's what happened, and it's That's not the way that told it blew my mind when I was watching Johnny Carson. I said, holy man. I didn't know who this Mary Margaret Hughes was, but because of Joan Lansing, she did. I mean, she really was the film and made a great performance of that film. I was in touch with her, shortly after, because we, all became very close, all of us in that film. But then a couple years later, I just lost track of her. Tammy Taylor, by the way, I'm still in touch with. She's also in the film. Tammy Taylor, as a direct result of Malibu High. Tammy Taylor, for example, she was the one of the co-leads.
I should get her on here.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Larry Foldis, the main producer, and myself we went to this theater group where she was in some play or something in Santa Barbara. We shot in Santa Barbara, and we found her. It says, "Oh my gosh, she's perfect." And we cast her like immediately, Tammy Taylor. And so I mean, but Irv Berwick, who was Larry Foldis and my instructor in a class called low budget film production for UCLA, right? Irv Berwick was like hero of mine. He did Monster Pedro Blancas and dialogue director on Spartacus. So next thing we know, Larry Foldis and I says, well, we had this guy, Tom Singer, and I had this script. Let's do this movie. We did it. We raised the money, 80,000 or whatever, in Santa Barbara. We shot the freaking film using Brooks Institute students. And we made a deal with Brooks Institute. So we used their students, their top people. And we did what no one else ever did, to be honest with you. No one. I mean, we made this film, Irv Berwick, and he got his main cameraman, who also worked on Creature from the Black Lagoon. We're filming at Brooks Institute with their students and their top people. Yeah, an $80,000 film easily could have been $500,000 back in those days, easily. But we lucked out. Years later, it's putting at this movie theater that I was managing in Tarzana, and there it is, Malibu High. Craig Muckler's Malibu High. It was just the craziest thing. And I remember opening week, Tammy Taylor came into the theater with her friend. It's theater 5. Just there's my movie. And she tells her friend that. And this is the guy that helped produce it. I'm the theater manager, right? I mean, how cool is that? Managing a movie theater and my movie's playing there with my name on the marquee. In fact, it was so funny. I'm living in Tarzana. I just moved there a couple of years, and I'm living in this Tarzana place, apartment complex with young artists, right? Including John Robinson, lived right next to me, would become the #1 session drummer in the world. With Rufus, Shaka Khan, every one of Michael Jackson's albums, and John Williams. So he was there. So I mean, he says, Craig, opening night, we're all going. The whole apartment complex went to my movie theater and probably the third week I moved to LA. I'm managing this theater, the movies of Tarzana, and all of a sudden, I relieved the guy at the door. I said, "Yeah, go on your break." And these 2 Rolls Royces roll up, right? 2 Rolls Royces. And I told the main manager, Richard Hall, I says, "They can't park there." He says, "They can." And the cops let him. Says, "Well, why?" He says, "In 2 minutes, you'll see why." Next thing I know, I'm taking tickets. It's the Jacksons. The Jackson 5, the Jacksons are all coming into the theater. I just been in LA for a month, and the Jacksons, and who comes? And then so anyway, the last guy comes in is freaking Michael Jackson. So, oh my God, so anyway, I'm at the door. They all go into the movie theater except Michael Jackson goes up and play the pinball machines that they have.
Mm-hmm.
No one's on the. I'm just standing like Jay. Next thing I know, Michael Jackson himself comes up. He says, "You must be the new guy." I said, yeah, I'm Craig. He said, Michael Jackson. This is can't believe this. So we're talking. Said, oh yeah, I moved out here to make movies. Just when's that movie coming? And it was a big some horror poster up, coming. So that's such and such. So Michael Jackson is coming in the theater a lot. And do you realize opening night of Malibu High, who sat behind me to help just support me, Michael Jackson from Malibu High. You can't beat that stuff from a guy from Minnesota, right? You just can't. I mean, there he is, Michael Jackson watching my movie, Malibu High. And years later, now I was on Blu-ray and just last one of Quentin Tarantino's favorite films. I would never have thought that because of Malibu High, we made Microwave Massacre because we were in the groove, and then we raised the money because Malibu High was a big hit.
We're also involved in a few James Balsamo movies, but of course we're both in It Wants Blood.
It Wants Blood. I have someone.
Yeah, we're both part of
It Wants Blood.
Bite School 2, Balsamo
Bite
Beach.
School 2. Oh yeah, I mean here I have
Killer Waves 2.
Oh God, Bite School. In fact, here I'm not sure if I can show you some of the stuff, but let me get this here. Where is it? Bite School 2. So one of these. But anyway, yeah. Well, yeah, Bite School. Anyway, I have all these posters here about all this stuff. And so James and I have been involved in probably 6 films now. Mind Melters 2.
Yeah.
Which Bob Cummings, my father, we shot probably half the film back in Minnesota, and then James. So anyway, I'm co-starring in that, and as a direct result, it's taken a while, but James, Bob, and myself are doing a film called Mark and Clark: World Adventures, where we continue fighting monsters from the very first Mind Melters 2, which took off on AMC, stuff. So I mean, it's cool working with James because we and I are both crazy. We're both from the same mindset, which is cool. Now, yeah, it Wants Blood, Bite School 2, Killer Waves 2.
Yep.
And these titles run together. So, but also, I introduced him to my manager, Joseph Williamson Agency, and in the last 3 years, what Laurie Singer was appointed to, I've been involved with 3 films with him, including Demonoids. Done well. I co-produced that with him, and what's cool is that Demonoids, like Hand of Feast, has from the producer of Microwave Massacre. And my other one, Angry Asian Murder Hornets. $20,000 film from the producer of Microwave Massacre. So I'm getting all this attention, and it helps when I get these films like The Hand That Feeds. Yeah, it comes here, right? $250,000 film with I'm in it with and one best horror film of the year, Crypticon, and I got Chris Mulkey as one of the stars of it, Twin Peaks. And then my other film came out this year. We started producing it. They brought me on as a main associate producer to the $3 million film, The Harbinger. We started filming that back in 2016. In fact, Jill Schoen was going to be in it. She kind of she could have been, but things happen. But as things happen, but this film came finally. 2 year $500,000 over budget, and it opened in September to rave reviews, and played in theaters and huge in Amazon. And it's a brilliant film called The Harbinger. And I accepted the award for the director who won Best Director of the Year at Crypticon. And it's a brilliant. So anyone who wants to, you can go on Amazon. It's a great film, and it's worth every penny. I mean, look, it cost $3 million, it was still quite a bit, but it even looks a lot more. And when we're shooting this 2016, went over budget, so we took a while to get it going. We lucked out. Our star of the film, one of my main stars, his name is Madeline McGraw, was no one better. As things will turn out, when the film was released September 1st in theaters, this and that, red carpet. We had a big red carpet at the Grauman's Chinese Theater in July.
Mm-hmm.
And who's there? Madeline McGraw, the star of The Black Phone. One of the biggest horror films. I mean, made $150 million worldwide. And now, next thing you know, she's in our film. You can't beat that.
I enjoyed The Black Phone.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, we lucked out there. And so anyway, that's just one of the things I'm doing. I mean, with that, Chris Mulkey and I, Twin Peaks, we wrote a script we want to get going this year, $2 million, called Zombie Football. Exactly what you think it is. I mean, if we can finally get some of these rolling, ripped to shreds. I mean, everyone's been wanting that. Bruce Davison wants to build. Bruce Davison says his best script of its kind since Willard. So I have some potential people really trying to back that one up. The sequel to Microwave Massacre, obviously, Don't Go in the Oven. It's a bigger film, obviously, and who already read the script wants to be in it is Dee Wallace herself.
Yeah, she was in 13 Fanboy, which I'm a part of, and she was also been on the show here twice. I met her.
Oh, shit,
Lovely
really?
person.
Yeah. She's been one of my best friends since the late 70s. You know what I mean? In fact, she, I, and Liz Conrad were on the big radio show like a year and a half ago on Lou Pizarro's Repo Radio in LA. So so great having a friend like her. We go way back. Like I said, I met her at the movie theater, in fact. And she introduced me, I think, who came in because we had a show enough for a movie, The Hills Have Eyes. And who did she introduce me to? And because of direct result, was Wes Craven, who after I did Malibu High, I get a call from someone, Craig, this friend wants to meet you. You're gonna have drinks. So I go down there at some bar, Burbank or something. There's Wes Craven. He said, Craig, for the budget you have on your film for Microwave Massacre, I want you to meet my art director of The Hills Have Eyes, Robert Burns. Robert Burns. I mean, Robert Burns would later become, by Paris Match magazine, the #1 horror art director of all time, primarily for the Texas Chainsaw Massacre and The Hills Have Eyes, The Howling. And I helped get Robert Burns his art direction role in The Howling. I was friends with, Mick Garris.
Yep.
Mick Garris is one of my dear friends. And so, I mean, the synchronicity with all this stuff is just wild. So that's why I told Jason, it's what goes around comes around. Is we, after all these years, have to work together. So I mean, there's just but it's been a great year with The Hand That Feeds and The Harbinger, both coming out, great reviews and doing, and for me to be a part of both those great films, it's amazing. I mean, The Hand That Feeds, both those films are good budget films, and everything. But the tension I'm getting with this, and even Murder Hornets, it is helping get my name out. So investors will look and want to invest in our new stuff. And I'm working with David Bond, of course, who had a Crown, when the heads of Crown International, wrote the graduation day. All these
Okay,
people.
yep.
So I mean, Chris Mulkey, Jose wants to do a thriller with. He was the DP on Harbinger called Rage, low budget film. He's bringing me on board. We can do this year. This is the new political thriller ever, kind of like the senator is kidnapped, a Trump type guy, by this woman, puts him in a dungeon, won't feed him or give him water until he does a video about what his real political views are. Rage. So this just popped in my lap. Jose is brilliant DP, and he says, Craig, because of what you can bring to the table, I want to do this. So who I already read the script. I mean, it's low budget. Is God, the star of one of the stars of the Breakfast Club.
Okay.
What's the dark haired guy? Anyway, also Billionaire Boy Club, him.
Yep.
And he loves the script. So we'll play everything by ear. Things are popping up at me, but it helps. I have a background. A background that people of these films people know. It really helps.
Absolutely.
And going on shows like your show, Greg.
Well, yeah, whenever I don't oversleep and oh my goodness. For anybody listening, you were supposed to be on here 2 hours ago, and like I said, I work at the hospital here, so I had things going on today. I had to do an interview earlier this afternoon, and
And
I
no, that's no problem. And before I forget, I still want to. This is still out there. I directed, a Taboo Identity.
Taboo Identity. There you go.
Kay Parker story. There's Kay Parker. There is Joe Sholin, right? Who is my star interviewer in the film, and it's still out there. So I'd like to people go online and buy it. The Taboo Identity. And Kay Parker, in the last couple of months, actually passed away. Very sad. But she was the number one. I mean, from taboo movies to number one metaphysical therapist and counselor, helping people with. So she passed away. So the dedication for her, and I really want to get, the people watch it again. I mean, and it was remarkable. I mean, I did bring Jill Sholin back. She came out first film in years, but she did a phenomenal job as our star interviewer. So we have top-notch film there. I want people to still go online and rent it or buy it.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I was happy to have you come back on here today. This is your third time, and you're also totally my 700th interview since 2015. So
Is that right? That's
yeah.
great.
Oh gee, yeah. I did not hear my alarm. I had a couple hours where I could take a nap and I wake up and messages from you, and I'm certainly glad that you're understanding, because I'm going to tell you.
I know. I mean, we're kind of the same business type thing, anyway. So that's the way this business is.
No, you kidding me? I got to the hospital last night, and first thing, a terminal in a hallway. I'm like, I've never did a terminal in a hallway before.
Yeah.
Go figure. But no, nonetheless, I thought I would catch a nap, and I didn't even. And that's the worst. And then, I'm certainly glad it doesn't put me late for work, because but
And
nonetheless.
and you have a great job. I mean, anyone that works at a hospital, to me, is very, that's great. So kudos to you.
Yeah, well, kudos to all of us there. I got
Yeah,
a lot of great people I
thanks.
work with.
Yeah,
But yeah, no, I'm certainly glad we're able to make this work. And like I said, my apologies on that. That's on me on my end. But
and anyone that so that you posted on my Facebook site or anywhere else, so everyone can see it, is great.
oh yeah, absolutely. How was your Christmas?
It was good. That back here in frozen Minnesota, but with some family, friends, this and that, chance to relax. And before I forget, God, writing a book. I'm writing 2 books. One is CM Celebrity Magnet, from stutterer to talk show host, right?
Uh-huh.
But I'm also writing a major book with Catherine Coben Pacino, Al Pacino's stepmom.
Yep.
I mean, it's going to be great. Narcissist Handbook. But it's going to be a fun book. We go into detail about narcissism, how it affects people, both the narcissist and not, because it's an actual illness type stuff. So I
Yeah.
want, in this book, Kathy Pacino, my God, because her, she's like family to me, Al Pacino's stepmom. So we both realize, especially in this business, how affairs, good or bad, can affect people negatively. And like, if like, say I'm dealing with a narcissist type of situation, not knowing it, well, I'm taken under this kind of like love bombing type thing, and then it ends up being like the movie Gaslight,
Okay. Yep.
where it's painful, because all of a sudden, the person, like, say, dumps you or whatever, gaslights you, and it's painful because it's like that person died in a sense. But then I started feeling, for them too, right? Because that's, to be on that end of the situation isn't good either. So I want to write this book, Catherine Coben Pacino, myself, to help people that they're both in that toxic relationship, and those that, say, on the other end, that needs help. Narcissist, because it's not good, because they went through a troubled life themselves to get where they are, right? So that's what this book is about, and we're coming through great times, and it's great having someone like Al Pacino's stepmom and myself working together on this, to get the name out, and make people aware. There's the situation out there, on both ends. So anyway, I just wanted to bring that. And Kathy Pacino, this one of my, she's like, her and her husband Bill William Lashberg is like family to me, and have been for years. But it's good that we are both in like the same type of business. It kind of helps. So anyway, I've been working on it a lot of time, effort, people at the Mayo Clinic on this, to get it right, but make it a fun book too. The Narcissist Handbook, or How to Become a Narcissist in 12 Easy Steps.
There you
So
go.
watch out for that later, okay? Yeah, so it's good. And CM Celebrity Magnet, from stutterer to talk show host. After all, I was held back twice, stuttered, right? And Rock Hudson mother lived with us every summer in Lake for northern Minnesota. And she and her famous son, Rock Hudson, influenced me. They said, "Look, Craig, you can do whatever you want." And Rock Hudson told me that, of all people. And so he always like family to me, In fact, here's the scope. After moving on, Microwave Massacre finally erupted, as it's called, film 1984. So I go up like family to Rock Hudson's. We're having drinks, talking old times, and his mom, who was like my grandmother to me. And I take out a copy of this guy, Microwave Massacre. This came out. I said, Rock, you always give autographs. Here, I took out the VHS and signed to Rock Hudson and his mother, Kay Olsen, and gave it to him. Right? Said, you know, Rock, if it wasn't for you, this movie would never have been made. Do you know what happened? One of the biggest stars in the world cried. You know what I mean? The passion of this superstar, no matter what anyone ever said, to, you know, just it was almost overwhelming to me. You know what I mean? See someone at his stature do that, and he and his mother affected me. I might never have moved to, you know, to LA doing movies, but I says, you know what? I stutter this and that. I'm going to be just like Rock Hudson, because when I'm acting on the screen, I won't stutter and be bullied. How about that?
There
and
you
right
go.
now I'm in a bestseller a few years ago called All That Heaven Allows by Mark Griffin, the Rock Hudson biography. I'm in it, so pretty cool.
That is cool. That is cool. Well, you know what? That was wonderful getting you on here tonight, you
Yes,
know, and
always.
oh yeah. Of course, the Microwave Massacre, regardless of you know, wherever it is, because they got list of like 230 different release dates, but I'm kind of
Yeah,
going with the 1983 here, 40th anniversary. What do you think? 40 years this film, you know?
yeah, and 40 years later, I still go to these horror conventions, right? I mean,
Yeah.
I all over the place. In fact, back in the day, Joel and I went to a number of them together, and it's kind of funny, where these people in their 20s come up to me to buy the film. And one of the best things ever was 2016 when I got a call from the Egyptian Theater in Los Angeles. It said, Craig, we're going to show special showing December 23rd a Microwave Massacre at the Egyptian Theater. Whoa. I mean, my movie on the Egyptian Theater. Hundreds of people show up. And actually, it was pretty cool. That night, who showed up for me to introduce me was Joe Sholin herself, which one of the coolest things ever. You know what I mean?
I thought it was interesting when James Balsamo announced that It Wants Blood was playing there, and I'm like, I'm going to be
Well,
on screen.
that was actually at the. Let's see. I was at the. Well, there's the Egyptian theater and the Grauman's Chinese theater. Chinese theater.
Oh, the Chinese theater. Okay, yeah, okay. I get. I'd never been there before, so I wouldn't know, you know.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I thought it was cool that I was going to appear on screen there. Yeah, being watched on a television by Eric Roberts. I got to say that was pretty cool, you know.
Yeah, and we're so both involved, and that film. I actually went to their to the red carpet showing at the Grauman's Theater. That would have been like a year ago, July, I think it was, and
I
it's
got
so
that.
cool that my scene, I play
Uh-huh.
Eric Roberts' fundraiser for his Senate campaign. So I was so cool being a scene directly with Eric Roberts was great.
Actually, I got the. See here, Blu-ray right up here, handy. There we are. Of course, it's not going to show up with these backgrounds. These backgrounds that.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. Well, screw it.
Yeah, I know. I had the movie here somewhere myself. Oh yeah, well this is it. It wants See,
Yeah,
that's
I got a bunch of signatures on mine too.
yeah. And in fact, uh, two days later, James Balsamo, myself, Brink Stevens,
Yeah.
Other people did a signing at Dark Delicacies for it, you know. So that was fun. In fact, that was the third signing I've done at Dark Delicacies. One was for Microwave Massacre, the Blu-ray, that I was there with Adrian King of Friday the 13th, my friend.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I met her last year at Frightmare in the Falls.
Oh, really? Okay. And
Yeah.
and then a taboo a taboo identity. I had and with Kay Parker, and actually Mick Garris showed up there for me. You know, Mick Garris. He says, "Craig, I'm going to show up for your signing," which he did. Oh my God, the writer and producer of Hocus Pocus directed The Stand, all this stuff. But I mean, isn't that cool? He shows up for me. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Mick Garris.
Well,
And I met Mick Garris back in like the early 1980s too, same time with all those people, because he was coming up at the same time. So it's kind of cool when all these people I meet, but late 70s, early 80s, all of a sudden, through the years, they all become big, celebrities, but they're my friends because they were nobody back then. There you go.
yep. Malibu High. I got that Blu-ray as well.
Yeah. Malibu High. You can't beat it.
There you go.
Malibu High. The original title was called. Well, there are two titles. One was called Teen Terror, and the other was called Lovely but Deadly.
There you go.
And Crown International, when they picked it up, they said, "Well, let's go," because they had a big hit in Malibu Beach. So they released it at Malibu High. So everyone thought it was this Fun in the Sun show movie, but it's not. It's a hardcore drama.
There you go. About a troubled student that don't want to do her work.
Yeah.
Well, she wants to do her work, but just not in the way that's traditional,
Right. I mean, what a fun time. I mean, here in my early 20s doing this freaking film, right? It was just so cool. Coming from Minnesota next, and I'm like this work around with all these celebrity type people, crazy and heck, it was. I mean, the people I met then when they called me, like Wes Craven calls me. Wes Craven? Are you kidding me? And the showing of Microwave Massacre at the for the cast and crew screening at Warner Brothers, who sat right next to me? Wes Craven. Behind me was Jackie Vernon. I mean, Wes Craven. You know what I mean? I mean, it's insane. And I mean, during that early part, I became good. I mean, all the people I became friends with, like Linda Hamilton. My God, Linda Hamilton. As a Terminator. I just go party with her at her house. And then she was, "Craig, I'm doing this big movie." So what says Terminator? But she already did Stephen King's Children of the Corn. But I was friends with her. You know how cool it was hanging around with these people. Coming to my apartment complex in Tarzana. There's Linda Hamilton and I have a beer together. Linda Hamilton.
There you go.
Before she knew James Cameron. And the people in 1985, I had my little TV show, the Hollywood Showcase, in which we plan on bringing back. And 1985, I have, dig this, Tony Jean Boyle, the famous acting class, Bo Svensson, and yes, Jill Schoen in 1985. She was on my show in 1985. Before, I mean, it was weird, when I think someone like her back in those days, as of course, a whole years later, we worked together later because of back then. But to have a TV show on Group W in the 80s and early 90s with Rufus and Shaka Khan, it was a Group W show. It was public access, but it was so popular. It paid for itself through sponsors. At the end of the show, like Jesus, Rufus Shaka. I mean, I had back in those days, they're called people now. Aldo Ray. Brad Pitt played the character Aldo Ray in Quentin Tarantino's Inglourious Bastards.
Mm-hmm.
Just because he was a fan. And I had Ann Robinson on my show. Are you kidding me? War of the Worlds. So I had all these cool people on the show back then. He said, "Yeah, we'll do your show." Bo Svensson was on the show at least 3 times when he was. I mean, hell, Walking Tall, you know.
Yep.
And all these people. Linda Hamilton was going to come on my show. She calls me and says, "Look, Craig, I can't come on." I said, "Why?" "Well, I have to do a movie called The Terminator 2. I said, Linda, you're doing that instead of my show? I'm joking. The Terminator Part 2. Are you kidding me? So cool having friends like that. We, and it proves that, like, I'm good friends with Brad Pitt now. But he's a regular guy. See, these people are regular people. People forget that. Brad Pitt in 1987 taking acting classes with him. Through 2 years, he is a very close friend of mine the last couple of years, especially because, I have his backbone, he has mine, emotionally, as a friend. It has nothing to do with we're in that business, right? But you know what it's like getting Merry Christmas from Brad Pitt. He said, "Craig, keep on being the guy you are, Craig." You know what I mean? From Brad Pitt. You know how that makes you feel?
Yep.
I mean, really, and he's there emotionally for me. I've had ups and downs the last couple of years emotionally. I mean, making movies or not, but there's things that happen in your life, and it's nice having a friend like him there for you, and vice versa. You know what I mean? So it's pretty cool.
Well, it was great having you come on here tonight, and I hate to cut this
So
short because I do have to get ready to go to the
you're gonna get
hospital to
ready to
do
go to that hospital.
an overnight shift, see how many people were in the microwave.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah,
I am sorry
exactly.
about earlier, Craig. Like I said, I had somebody, I went to pick a New Year's uh dinner, so one of my coworkers made up for me. I didn't eat it there. I got it in my fridge, but she said, "I don't know how you go with so little sleep," and
Uh,
that's part of the problem with me. So
yeah, well, what the
I,
heck?
so I am sorry, but I am glad we're able to make
Yeah,
this
and,
work.
and be sure and post this wherever so everyone can watch it. Okay.
Oh yeah, well I'm gonna be as
And
of
on my
last night.
and on my Facebook site, I have 5,000 people there.
Hmm. Yep, absolutely, absolutely.
Always a pleasure. We'll do it again. Okay.
Oh yeah, at some point, yes, absolutely. Um, yeah, here we are, New Year's Day, 2023, with Craig Muckler of Microwave Massacre, and of course we worked on work,
Together.
very limited term for me. It Wants Blood with James Balsamo.
Yes.
Yep. Check out more of his stuff. Uh, anything else you want to plug before we close off?
Well, I mean, like I said, at least I got in working with Kathy Pacino, zombie football. What
Hmm.
it's especially coming out is The Hand That Feeds. It's
Yep.
coming this year. I really want to push it. At CryptCon Minnesota, won Best Horror Film of the Year. I got an award. I mean that I did with Chris LaFleur, one of the top executive producers in the world. He also helped me on Tabloid Identity, and he's the one that brought me on board. So I always have to give credit to Chris LaFleur.
Hmm.
Alrighty, yeah.
There we go.
All right.
Well, Craig, I bid you a happy new year. We'll be in touch, and absolutely, this has been great. So,
Always.
absolutely. Before I let you go, I'd love a plug.
The Greg Gilbert Show podcast. Oh, it's the best. I mean,
Python's
I've been on a
Paradise.
lot
Yep.
of shows, and Greg, really, you are probably the best person to do an interview. And I've been on tons of them. You're great. I gotta tell you, and that's the truth.
I'm great when I get on here from oversleeping, but
No problem,
yeah.
man. Well, thank you. We'll talk soon.
You take care. God bless you, Craig,
God bless
and
you.
absolutely, we'll be in touch.
All right,
Take
great.
care.
All right, thanks. Bye
Yeah.
now.
Bye bye.